Hey, welcome to your Tech News Today, where we keep you informed and empowered by giving you the latest tech stories that impact your daily life. It's Monday, March 4th. I'm Mike James. Coming up in just a bit, we'll tell you how to run a background check on yourself so you'll know what everyone else around knows about you. And what happens when those home DNA testing sites are finished with your tests. We'll tell you how you can have that genetic sample destroyed and other information deleted. Plus, Apple products are great, but why are they so expensive? And there's a new trend in baby naming, and it has a direct tie-in with social media. We'll get started in just a moment. First, we'd like to recognize our partners who help make these Commando podcasts possible. Hey, we start with your history and all the information about you that's available online. With relative ease of finding information about anyone via the internet, search engines, and social media, sleuthing around is now par for the course, but it goes a lot deeper than that. Every institution that you plan on dealing with wants your history. Information and privacy go both ways, though, and it's all in the name of security. You want to know more about them, and vice versa. They want to know more about you. And these reports include your income level, loans, outstanding debts, criminal history, and other sensitive data. And this is why it's important that you run a background check on yourself and see what data these institutions can request about you. You're entitled to a free credit report every 12 months from each of the three major credit reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And your best option is to space out your requests so you can get a credit report free for every 4 months. Next, if you're applying for a job, companies are eligible to run a background check on you. Information that employment screening companies can provide may include your credit history, employment, salary, and education, and personal license verifications. Now, keep in mind that your potential employer cannot request this information without your authorization. It's also recommended that before you give your authorization, you ask for the name of the employment screening company that is being used. Now, similar to the consumer and credit reporting companies, you can also request for your own report from employment screening firms. These are well more than a dozen commonly used by businesses, and we have them listed over at Commando.com. Of course, landlords and real estate management companies can also ask for your tenant screening report if you're applying to rent a property. Now, these types of reports may include prior housing evictions and criminal background information, which could lead to a rejection of your application, so it's equally important to review them for accuracy. Ask the landlord for the tenant screening company that they're using so you can review your data as well. And banks can also request check and bank screening reports to see if you have an unpaid negative balance or if your account has been suspected of fraud. Now, if you've been a victim of banking or check fraud or had difficulties opening or closing a bank account, it's recommended that you review your check and bank screening reports to see if they're complete and accurate. There are typical screening companies that banks use, and they can also provide you with a free report each year. We have a number of other ways to check your own background and report at Commando.com, such as through insurance companies, medical, utility services, and retail. Well, those at-home DNA tests have become pretty common, and hey, it can tell us a lot about our ancestry, but on the flip side, simply turning over your personal information and DNA can be asking for trouble. So now you have these companies like Ancestry.com, 23andMe, MyHeritage, and others that might have your genetic material. And okay, so once the fun's over in figuring out your family tree, it's time to take back your privacy. And we've got some tips for you on how to remove your genetic data and having your sample destroyed. We'll start with 23andMe, one of the more popular companies for genetic information. If you've used them, did you read the fine print? If you filled out the consent document, chances are it's not just 23andMe that has your information. Now, it might also be in the hands of other third-party researchers and firms. So to start the process of having your data and DNA deleted and destroyed from their servers, visit your online account settings and remove any consent you previously gave. Then delete your information as far as your sample goes. It was supposed to be destroyed anyway after it's initially analyzed. For MyHeritage, they can research your DNA if you consented to it when signing up. And just like 23andMe, you can just simply revoke it via your personal account. Just look for the Manage DNA Kits section of your account settings and then delete your information. But you'll need to call them to have your samples destroyed. Now, if you used Ancestry, you can stop any further research by visiting the account settings. And once you're logged in, look for DNA Results Summary. Then Settings, then Delete Test Results. And if you want your sample destroyed as well, you'll need to reach out to one of Ancestry's member services representatives. Just ahead, we'll take a look at some of the reasons why Apple products are so expensive. And just because you see something going on your video doorbell doesn't actually mean it's there. Right now, let me tell you about our partners at Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. Plus, there's no account minimum deposit needed to get started, so you can start investing at any level, like $10. The simple, intuitive design of Robinhood makes investing easy for newcomers and experts alike. View easy-to-understand charts and market data and place a trade in just about 4 taps on your smartphone. Also with Robinhood, you can learn how to invest in the market as you build your portfolio, discover new stocks, track your favorite companies, and get custom notifications for price movements so you never miss an opportunity to invest. Robinhood is giving listeners of Tech News a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. Sign up at money.robinhood.com. I did. I love it. I've actually gone up about 10% already. Again, sign up at money.robinhood.com. Money.robinhood.com. Well, Apple isn't credited with making the first smartphone, but it sure did revolutionize the industry when the iPhone debuted in 2007. Back then, the entry-level price was $499. Fast forward to 2017, Apple broke through the $1,000 barrier with the iPhone X. The base model cost $999, but if you wanted more storage, it was well over $1,000. Once shocking sticker price of $1,000 is now just commonplace. And it's not just phones that are super pricey. Apple's products in general are just plain expensive. But have you ever asked why? Now, one reason that iPhones are more expensive than ever is the sales are down. CEO Tim Cook sent a letter to investors in January lowering its revenue forecast because of slow iPhone sales. It's business 101, folks. When sales are down, you can either sell more of what you have or raise the price of what you're selling. But there are more factors. Some would argue that Apple's products are designed with groundbreaking technology that simply costs more to build, which is true. However, that's only part of the story. According to teardown engineers at IHS Markit, the 64-gigabyte version of the iPhone X cost Apple about $370 in materials and had a starting price of $999. So there's more going on there than just costly materials. You also have to take into account the research and development factor. Apple spends tons of money coming up with innovative products, and it's not cheap to do that. Engineers, designers, testers, marketing teams, and more contribute to those high costs. And then there's software. When it comes to Apple computers, you might be paying for the things that you don't need. For example, a Mac comes loaded with tons of software that's been developed by Apple that you might never use, but it's still factored into the retail price of the machine. Now, if you're an Apple fan, you know that there's an entire ecosystem that comes with its products. Everything works together. For example, you can visit a friend's home and enter their Wi-Fi password on your iPhone, and later, if you return with an iPad, their password automatically then transfers from your iPhone. That's pretty cool technology. Also, if you buy apps or music through iTunes, they work with all your Apple products. So you're not going to need to pay for the same thing twice for different gadgets. And when it comes right down to it, it's not just the hardware that kicks those costs through the roof. It's a combination of factors and how Apple seamlessly makes everything work together. But yeah, it does cost you. Don't believe everything you see, even if it's showing up on your video doorbell. A group of researchers just released a report about a vulnerability in Amazon-owned Ring video doorbells. Because of some lacking encryption, someone could listen in or watch the live feed from your front door. So they could know when you're there, when you're not, your habits, and when the delivery person drops off your online orders, which would make for some pretty easy burglaries. And get this, hackers could even hijack your feed and upload whatever they want you to see. So they could, for instance, show you that nothing's going on while they're actually walking inside your house and doing the old Ocean's 11 thing. After this report, Ring was pretty quick to put out an update to shut down the vulnerability, but you still need to make sure that you're running the latest version. Coming up, a bizarre new trend in baby naming and what it has to do with social media. Right now, a quick thank you to our friends who helped make this podcast possible. When people name their child, they usually consider nicknames, initials, family, or popular names. Not anymore. Now, you also have to consider what impact that name will have on his or her social media account. New parents have it tough. Many will give their child a certain name that has its name available as a website address or social media profile. So Peace, Harmony, and Hope, along with Rainbow and Dawn, are on the increase for girls. And for boys, Ocean, Saffron, and because of the game Fortnite, Rogue are increasing in popularity. Parents are definitely looking beyond John and Jane, and among the more unique names for girls are Fanta and Lemon. For boys, the name ESPN is on the increase, and for girls, the name Man is gaining popularity. I'm certain that these names will attract social media attention, but maybe not in the way the parents are hoping. By the way, once you're done listening to our podcast, do us a favor and give us a good rating wherever you do listen. We thank you for that. It helps more people find us. And make sure to check out some of the stories that are posted to Commando.com this past weekend, including information on sextortion scams that are now posing as security warnings and how the latest Momo challenge hoax is causing fear among parents. Finally, for today's Commando Kicker, the military is known to be on the cutting edge of technological innovations, and this time it's no different. The U.S. Army has started to use a medical hands-free unified broadcast, it's called kind of a MedHub tablet, which allows a better flow of communication between patients, medics, and field hospitals when every second counts. It's important to get messages out as quickly and accurately as possible, and these tablets can shorten the time spent by a medic completing a care card and then resulting in a huge increase in accuracy as opposed to using pen and paper. The device is also able to forward critical data to hospitals and lets them prepare for patients' arrivals. The MedHub looks promising to help save the lives in the future, and they, of course, continue to strive for innovation. For more fun and interesting facts, go to Commando.com and search for the Commando Kicker. And that's your tech news today. If you enjoyed it, thank you again for listening. Check out our other podcasts like Commando on Demand, where Kim takes an in-depth look at the digital technologies that affect our daily lives. That's Commando on Demand. It's at podnet.com or, of course, on your favorite podcast player, Android or Apple Podcasts. Just search KOMANDO. We'll see you tomorrow.